Let's talk about complementary, supplementary, and conjugate angles. Complementary angles are said to be two angles that add up to a right angle. So if I draw a right angle, if I can actually draw a right angle here, if I draw a right angle and put another ray in there, or line segment, then these two angles, for instance here, A and B, add up to a right angle. That is, in degree measure, A plus B has to equal 90 degrees. We'll do radians a little later on in the quarter. That'd be a different way of measuring the angle, but for now, A plus B is 90 degrees. Another way that I think of complementary angles is it just so happens that in a right triangle, if I were to draw a right triangle here, so here's my right angle. This angle here and that angle there, it turns out, have to add up to 90 degrees. The sum of all three angles is 180 degrees. This one's already 90, so that only leaves 90 left for those two. So there's two pictures that I see when I think complementary angles. I either see two angles sort of adding up to 90 degrees, or I see two angles that are the two acute angles in a right triangle. Okay. If I gave you an example here, if I said that angle A is 27 degrees, and I said find angle B, well, A plus B has got to be 90, so 27 plus B has to equal 90, which means B has to equal 90 minus 27, and that gets me down to, I think, 63 degrees. So B equals 63 degrees. Okay, complementary angles. The next concept is supplementary angles. So let me scroll up here and we will look at supplementary angles. Whoops, let's save conjugate angles for some other time. Supplementary angles are angles that add up to a straight angle. So if I draw something that looks like this angle here and this big angle there, this one plus that one is a straight angle, 180 degrees. A plus B is 180 degrees. Okay, supplements. An example here, if I said A is 27 degrees, and I want to know what's the supplementary angle, what's angle B, well then 27 plus B has got to equal 180. My stylus seems to be a little squeaky today. B then is 180 minus 27, which is 153. I got that right? Yes, 153 degrees would be the supplementary angle. Okay. One more concept that's mentioned in section 1.1 of the trig book, conjugate angles. Conjugate angles add up to a complete revolution. That is, if I think of this angle here being A, so there's my two rays, and then this angle out here going all the way around is B, so A gives me this much, and then B gives me the rest of the way around the circle. Those two angles are said to be complementary. Now all the way around would be 360 degrees, so A plus B has to be 360 degrees. Conjugate angles. As an example, if A, let's say, is, just picking a random number, 27 degrees, and I want to know the conjugate angle, then A plus, actually let's, 27 plus B has to equal 360 degrees. B then is 360 degrees minus 27. 27, I said 27, let's try again. 27, and I can subtract here and get B equals 333 degrees. I'll admit to you that conjugate angles are it's a concept that doesn't come up very often. In fact, most trig books that I've ever looked at or pre-calculus books don't really even talk about conjugate angles. I mean, there's something definitely nice about the relationship between these angles, but it's not used that much. The term of these three, the one we're going to use the most is complementary angles. They turn up a lot just because we're going to be working with right triangles, and the two angles within a right triangle will be complementary. Okay. One last thing I want to point out is that we will have a notion of negative angles within this course. If you have, since direction is important when we're thinking about rotational angles, if you rotate in a counterclockwise direction, this is going to be positive. So I might have drawn a 27-degree angle right there, positive 27-degree angle. On the other hand, if you rotate in the opposite direction, so if you rotate clockwise, same two rays, but let's go this way, right? Initial ray up here, terminal ray down there. This is what would be a negative angle. So allowing for positive and negative angles, it is possible that you could have, let's say, a complementary angle to something bigger than 90 degrees. Some textbooks don't allow this, but there really isn't any reason not to. None of the theorems that we have later will be affected by allowing, negative angles to be in the mix of some things. So for instance, if I want to know what is the complement of 100 degrees, complement of a 100-degree angle, well, complementary angles add up to 90, so I need 100 plus something is 90. Well, that something has got to be 90 minus 100, which is negative 10 degrees. So if I'm starting off with, a 100-degree angle, and I want it, so I'm starting off with that angle, and I want to end up with a 90-degree angle, well, I better take off 10 degrees. So do 100 in the counterclockwise direction, 10 in the clockwise direction. Positive 100 minus 10 is a result of 90 degrees. This is okay. There's nothing that's going to go wrong if we allow the bigger angles to have complements and supplements and throw some negative angles into the mix. Just realize that that negative sign means you're rotating in the opposite direction. Okay. There's complements and supplements.